This story is from 1,570 years ago, during the time when the Roman Empire faced numerous attacks by barbarian tribes. The barbarians and the Huns caused widespread destruction by attacking several Roman cities. The residents of these cities wanted to flee to save their lives, but they were surrounded, on one side by the Adriatic Sea and on the other by the Tyrrhenian Sea, leaving them with only one option. Consequently, they began fleeing to nearby islands in the sea. Once there, they were safe from the attacks, but these islands, located in coastal lagoons, had such soft soil that it was impossible even to stand on them. Defying all odds, these people not only made these islands their home, but also achieved remarkable feats of engineering by building buildings, canals, and even bridges. There was neither firm ground nor clean drinking water, yet the Venetians transformed this place into one of the most powerful cities. But how was all this possible? How did they manage to construct such a grand city on tiny islands where standing itself was impossible? 1,000 years ago. Initially, when the Romans abandoned their cities, the refugees who reached these islands had no proper shelter. The soft, marshy ground caused anything placed on it to sink. At that time, many suggested returning to the coast, but that meant certain death. The barbarians and Huns, nomadic tribes from northern Europe, exploited the Roman Empire's weakness to launch attacks. The situation was so dire that staying on these soft islands became the only option for survival. Located about 5 kilometers from the coast were over 150 small, marshy islands, all in similar conditions. During this time, a refugee found himself sinking into the ground. To save himself, he drove his boat's paddle deep into the ground. It went several feet down until it hit something solid. This sparked an idea that later became the foundation of Venice City. They brought tree trunks from the forests of what is now Croatia and hammered them deep into the marshy islands. After going approximately 5 meters deep, these trunks would reach solid ground, where they would form a stable grip. The trunks were hammered close to one another to create a stable platform. The tops of the piles were cut level, and wooden planks were laid over them to evenly distribute the load across the piles. To elevate this foundation above water level, special limestone blocks were placed on top. This simple yet effective combination, wooden piles below and heavy stones above, was enough to create a strong foundation. The wooden piles, submerged underwater, swelled and tightened against each other, leaving no room for air to pass through. This is why many of the piles driven into Venice's foundations 1,000 years ago are still in perfect condition, bearing the city's weight. Construction of buildings began atop this foundation. Initially, the Venetians built wooden houses, but frequent fires caused during cooking made this impractical. Later, bricks were used for construction. To keep buildings light, houses were limited to 3 stories, and a special mortar made from limestone powder was used between bricks to make walls both strong and flexible. Wooden planks were used for floors and interior walls, reinforced with iron rods for extra stability. This method became widely popular in Venice, and the islands were soon filled with houses. While most cities expand outward, Venice grew inward. Initially, boats were the only way to travel from one island to another. As the population grew, islands became closer, allowing people to cross them on horseback in shallow waters. Venice needed a way to connect the islands. For the first 500 years, the islands were not interconnected. As the population increased and business activity boomed, Venice's central hub, Rialto, became the focus. A simple wooden pontoon bridge was initially constructed to connect Rialto, but its instability caused frequent accidents. Later, a permanent wooden bridge was built, but it was set on fire during riots in 1310. Remarkably, the bridge survived for another 140 years, but eventually collapsed under heavy load in 1444. The decision was then made to build Venice's first stone bridge at Rialto. Using the same foundation technique employed for buildings, over 12,000 wooden piles were driven into the canal's bed, and a 10,000-ton stone arch bridge was constructed on top. The bridge was so successful that similar stone bridges were built throughout Venice. These bridges made travel between islands much easier, Venice has no roads, only canals, which serve as the main means of transportation. This unique system made it easier to transport goods to every corner of the city. Unlike other cities of that time, where pedestrians and horse-drawn carts shared the same roads, Venice separated pedestrian pathways from boat traffic. This allowed people to easily access their homes directly from the canals. Over time, Venice became Europe's most powerful and wealthy city, primarily due to its strategic location. Situated at the end of the Adriatic Sea, which connects directly to the Mediterranean, Venice became a hub for trade connecting Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. Ships carrying goods from Eastern Europe and the Middle East to Western Europe could easily reach Venice. The booming business activity attracted people from neighboring regions, rapidly increasing Venice's population. As the population grew, so did the demand for drinking water. Surrounded by salt water and lacking natural springs or rivers, Venice relied on rainwater collection. Venetian engineers devised an advanced system to collect rainwater. Deep wells were dug on unconstructed islands, and their walls were waterproofed with clay and sand. Rainwater from surrounding rooftops was channeled into these wells through pipes. The water would pass through layers of sand and stone, filtering it naturally before collecting in the wells. Over time, more than 600 such wells were built across Venice, shared by groups of households. Despite these achievements, Venice faced another challenge: sewage. Unlike other cities, Venice could not install underground sewer lines due to the lack of solid ground. Initially, waste was dumped directly into canals or pathways, causing foul smells. In the 16th century, a drainage system was introduced to collect waste from homes and direct it into canals. These drains were built above the canal's normal water level, allowing liquid waste to flow directly into the water. Solid waste would remain in the drains and be flushed into the canals during high tide, which occurs twice daily. This natural system kept the canals clean, as the salt water also acted as a disinfectant. Amazingly, Venice still uses this system today. Over the years, Venice has gradually been sinking, a natural process causing the city to subside by 1 to 2 millimeters annually. Despite challenges like flooding, which frequently submerges pathways, Venice remains a unique city visited by millions each year. Thank you for watching this video by LearnSphere. We hope you enjoyed learning about Venice's impossible engineering. Don't forget to like, share, and leave your valuable comments. See you in the next amazing video.